Hey guys, so today I'm going to be working with the All My Love suite. As you can tell from the title, I'm going to be doing 10 cards, one suite. If you follow me on my other channel, I do quite a bit of 10 cards, one kit, or 10 cards, one collection. So I thought about bringing that over on this channel because it gives you a wide variety of things to do with the suites, but it also forces me to use them. So instead of just making one video and being done with that, that's not very, that's just not a good thing for me because I purchase the products and then I show you once and then I never use it again. So I'm going to use it to make 10 cards. Now, another thing is I have 2 YouTube channels. Anytime I make a card, I'm shooting a video. So I never really, very rarely, will I craft or make a card just to make a card unless it's for something. I figure if I'm making a card, might as well shoot a video. So that being said, when I do a video, I do go to Pinterest for a lot of inspiration to kind of get the ideas flowing, especially with layouts. However, the catalogs have awesome inspiration. So for example, with this suite, they give you 5 examples. They also bring in the meant to be, which I don't have. But what I'm going to do with the 10 cards, one suite is so this is 5, really 4 because I don't have the heart. And we'll change this up, one up a little. But I'm going to make the cards in the catalog. So I'm going to case them. And then I'll make, so I'll copy these 5, but then make 5 original cards. So if you do see something you like, you can see it being made. So we're going to do that. I do have this card that was a make and take at Onstage, and I'm actually going to show you how to make this one. I don't have the ribbon, but we'll bring in other ribbon, recreate this one. The ribbon is the only thing I don't have in this suite. I have a ton of ribbon, and I don't feel right purchasing more. So I went ahead and passed on this, especially with this being an occasions catalog. I don't know if this ribbon's going to carry over. So since I do make videos, I can only really show you current product. So I went ahead and passed on the ribbon. So if you have an occasions catalog, this is on page 4. We'll be making these. With this one, I'll probably replace it with this one since I don't have the heart. And with this, we'll do something different. I have, obviously, the stamp set. Let me put this aside. Here is the stamp set. I do have the framelits because you get some beautiful dies that do really pretty things, create a really unique look on your card. So I went ahead and got the dies. Usually I pass on the dies. Let's see. I have the heart epoxy droplets we're going to use, and you can color these with an alcohol marker and change the colors, which is really cool. I have the paper. The paper comes in 12 by 12. I already you get 2 sheets of each design. I've already taken out 1 sheet of each design. I'm going to actually cut these 6 by 6. They're easier to work with, and then I'll put my scraps and all that in this holder, the packaging. But I'm hesitant to do cut these down because you can make coordinating envelopes. So I just took out 1 of each. We'll cut these down and we'll leave these be because I obviously won't get to those with the video. So let me go ahead and run through and show you the pattern paper. If you, I really didn't show you a full sheet on my haul videos, but they are double-sided. If you do get this bundle, meant to be bundle, I'm pretty sure these heart dies, which I love. I love this one, how it has the scallop and then it cuts it out, the center out, really pretty. But I'm pretty sure the heart dies will cut off this paper. So on this side are little hearts. And again, you can of course make Valentine's Day cards or projects, whatever, with these. But the paper also has floral, which you can use for the wedding, anniversary, anything else. You don't have to do it for a love theme. Really like this print. This is one paper. And then you have this. I love this. Love the outline. And then some more hearts. Crumb cake is one of my favorite Stampin' Up! Colors, and the background is crumb cake. And then you have these little hearts and more floral. Really pretty polka dots. And then again, love the crumb cake background with the pink and then that color. For the cardstock, now you can get a cardstock pack. It's the crumb cake, flirty flamingo, and lovely lipstick. I didn't buy the pack because I already have the paper. But if you wanted just to get the whole thing, you could get the pack, which is nice. They kind of do that. It's also, that is how I build my collection of cardstock. I get the packs. And then I don't have to commit myself to getting a whole pack of one color. And then when I get the packs of colors, you know, where it has 3 colors, I kind of judge, what do I use most often? Because I may never use Flirty Flamingo, and I realize that, and I haven't committed myself to a full pack of it. I kind of just have a sampling, which is really nice. So here's Flirty Flamingo. Here's Crumb Cake. And here is Lovely Lipstick. And I keep these in Avery Elle pockets. I'll link those below if you're interested. I got them off Amazon. So this is what the pack, if you bought the All My Love cardstock pack, comes in. However, the pattern paper has more colors with it. It has Balmy Blue and Soft Seafoam, which I don't have a lot of this, but I love this color. So I'll probably be really stingy on this until I can order some more. Then for ink, I have Soft Seafoam, Lovely Lipstick, Crumb Cake, and Flirty Flamingo. I actually don't have Balmy Blue. I probably could bring a similar color. Pool Party may be pretty close. You know, I probably could get away with it, but really not a big deal. So here are the ink pads. I will have everything listed below that I use. If you have any questions, let me know. Remember, if you do place an order, don't forget to use that HOSTESS code. And don't forget about taking advantage of Celebration. Every $50 you spend, you do earn a free item. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I'm going to go into a voiceover to do the cards, so this video isn't tremendously long. And everything will be linked below. All right, guys, hope you enjoy.
Okay, starting with card 1, I wanted to show you guys how I made the make and take on stage. So I have the card to the left that I'm going to duplicate. First, I'm going to stamp my sentiment with some lovely lipstick, and I'm going to use my circle punch to cut it out. This circle punch is a little bit larger than the one we used for our make and take, but that's okay. And then here I've taken that soft seafoam green cardstock and cut out, or die cut out, some of the dies. Now, here I kept messing up because the camera's in the way and I can't get my head directly above it. So I went ahead and stamped the flowers, and here I'm going to line up the leaves. This was easier for me than to do it the reversed way, the leaves first, oh my goodness, then the flowers. So the flowers, then the leaves was easier for me, and I had to get my head in there in order to get it even. I cut a strip of that pattern paper and used my banner triple punch to cut a fishtail at the end, and then I just trimmed the top. I'm going to take my crumb cake cardstock, go ahead and attach my banner. My banner does, or my banner strip, whatever you want to call it, but it does end up being a little bit shorter than I like, so I'll show you how I fix that. I am bringing in this ribbon since I do not have the ribbon to the left. I'm going to bring in this polka dot tulle ribbon, which I love, and I'm going to use that instead. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that down, and then go ahead and adhere this down, which, as you can see, is a little bit wider than, or taller, however you want to look at it, than the one I originally made. If I had to fix it, I would have trimmed it some more. The white piece with the flowers stamped on it, trimmed it a little bit so it's a little bit more narrower. And then I'm going to pop up the sentiment and adhere that down, trim the ribbon a little, and then I'll go ahead and adhere my little greenery pieces. Now, as you can see, the top portion of that red polka dot pattern paper is like, first of all, it's crooked, which drives me insane. And second, there's a little bit peeking out. So I go ahead and I'm like, great, how can I fix this? So I go ahead and get a little piece of cardstock, the same cardstock, cut it the same width, and then I end up just tucking it behind that panel. So it gives the appearance that's one long piece of cardstock. It's when really it's not. So that fixed that, looks a lot better. And that completes card 1. For card 2, I'll be making this card, and I will say I was not prepared for the fussiness of this card. I do bring in a different color, Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp the leaf images and the floral images. I will say with this stamp set, you have to tap lightly on your ink pad, otherwise you will get a big old mess. I actually had to stop the camera to practice using the stamp set because I was pressing too hard in my ink pad. So very light touch, and then you'll get this impression. Now the middle of my flower wasn't stamping. That was all me because I was nervous. So that's totally, if you don't see a stamp all the way, that's totally me, not the stamp. But light touch with this particular stamp set. I go ahead and use the floral die to cut out the flower. It's really easy to line up. I was just having issues lining it up. I lined it up and then I kept moving it, whatever. So once you get it lined up, go ahead and run that through and die cut it. This is my little sidekick. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell it. Shh, don't tell. But I love my little tabletop die cut for smaller pieces. So I continue cutting it, and I'm going to take this die right here. And see where I'm pointing at that little like curly Q? I want it facing up. This particular die I wanted a certain way, so I made sure that little curly Q was facing up when I die cut the top portion of the panel. And then for this portion, I wanted to make sure the curly Q was facing down. I think, let me check. Yes, so facing down. And then go ahead and just add some washi tape, die cut that through. I am using my little die cut brush. This helped tremendously get all those pieces out. Now this die in particular does emboss as well, so you'll see a little bit of embossing right there. Really pretty. And this is like an outline. As you can see, I'm lining it up. And I wanted to die cut some white cardstock to go behind this crumb cake piece. And again, this card was like, it's beautiful. It's probably my favorite card, but it is very fussy. So if you have no patience, you may not want to try this card or try a different version. So here I'm kind of lining it up, seeing where I need to cut it on my white cardstock to make sure it lines up. And then I go ahead and cut that. And then in the catalog, there's some color behind the crumb cake panel. And I was like, did they get that from using pattern paper? I don't know how they did it, so I'm just here lining everything up, trimming that piece off. I have no idea why it was so crooked, but either way. I go ahead and grab some ink, and I use a sponge dauber, and I kind of just add a little bit of ink behind it. I don't know if that's what they did or not, but that's what I'm doing to create that look. So go ahead and add a little light touch of ink. Put my little crumb cake panel back to see if that looks good. And then when I'm happy with that, go ahead and adhere this. I am using Fast Fuse. Of course, it's not available anymore, but I really fell in love with it when it was no longer available. So I bought a whole bunch of refills, so I'll be using that for a while. But of course, you can use any adhesive you want. Liquid adhesive, snail, it doesn't matter. Here I've die cut out some other pieces. There's my sentiment, Happy Valentine's Day. I'll go ahead and add my flowers and leaves. And then I did die cut another leaf from the Seafoam cardstock. You know, I just placed an order with Stampin' Up! And I forgot to order that cardstock. Ugh, drives me nuts when I forget to order something. So use my little tool picker, whatever this is called, to get out the middle pieces of that leaf, attach that, go and attach this to my card base. And that, I believe, no, that doesn't complete the card. So I have this group of twine or thread. I'm not even sure what it's called, but I love it. So I went ahead and tied a bow since I did not have the ribbon they used in the catalog. So mine's a little bit different. It's a little bit long, a little bit more wider than I prefer, but it it's okay. Like I said, that was a really fussy card, so I was proud of myself nonetheless. Okay, so for card 3, I'm stamping this stamp down, and again, I will be stamping the flowers. Again, trying to line it up. This is really easy to line up. The only reason why I kind of find it tricky is because the camera is above what I'm working on, not my head. And if you can really get on top of your card, you'll have no issues. So I die cut out this piece from that one die, and I made sure to line it up before I stamped this image down. Go ahead and pop that up with some dimensionals, adhere that down. Here I have stamped my sentiment and heat embossed it with silver embossing powder. I used that blue cardstock, which the name has left me. I made these probably a week ago, so everything's put away. But of course, everything will be listed below. And I go ahead and add my sentiment, add the panel to the card base, and then I go ahead and add these clear hearts. I was thinking I would have colored some of them for you so you could see that they can be colored, but I just wasn't thinking about it at the time. But if you have alcohol markers, those hearts can be colored any color you like. I go ahead and cut these little things out, and I bring in this, my little mat for my die cutting, and I take the end of my tool and just kind of make circular motions to kind of pop them up, just to give it a little bit of interest. I use the glue dot to go ahead and adhere it down. Now, when you mail this, they probably will flatten out, but if you hand deliver it, they would keep their shape. It just adds a little something to the card. And I go ahead and take more of that twine and adhere that bow. And that is probably the closest of all the cards I've made. So for card 4, I've taken this corner piece, which is really pretty. I really like it a lot. And I just die cut it out of some white cardstock. And then I'm going to take some scissors and go ahead and trim it. Or I'm sorry, I take my trimmer. And go ahead and trim off around that die. So this die kind of sticks out further than the panel I'm making like this. Looks really pretty. I like that. Very, very pretty die. Go ahead and attach my panel. And then I cut a strip out of this pattern paper and attach that as well. I do have some twine, not some twine, but some burlap ribbon, which I love. Go and attach that. And here I'm just kind of measuring out, okay, how big do I want this panel? There on the left here, you see these corner pieces. They'll cut out little dots. And I go ahead and carefully line those up as best I can to die cut them out. And then I will cut the other corner out. I do get a ruler to make sure that I at least try to get it as straight as I can. And then I will trim this piece off, and then I'll go ahead and stamp my sentiment, which I probably would have stamped my sentiment first and kind of made this a little bit smaller, but no big deal. It fits the panel nicely, or the card panel base, whatever. Nicely, go ahead and add some dimensionals and pop that up. And then I take this pattern paper. It's really pretty. And I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut out some of the flowers and the leaves. So I went ahead and fussy cut them out. If you don't feel like stamping anything, this pattern paper is really great for using the floral images. Go ahead and attach these two. And there is my version of the card. So moving on to card 5, I kind of ventured away from the catalog and kind of made some cards on my own idea. So for this card, I'm taking some crumb cake and I go ahead and attach this piece of DSP, and I have already stamped my sentiment and cut it out with or punched it out with my circle punch. I'm going to go ahead and tape that ribbon down, but then adhere my sentiment. I believe I pop it up. And those hearts you see, I don't have the heart dies. So I just fussy cut those out of the DSP that has the hearts. So deciding where I want this to go, adhere it down, and then I'll go ahead and adhere the hearts near the sentiment in that kind of opposite corner. I do pop them up with some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I add some more of these clear hearts. I really like this card. And those hearts were really easy to cut out. If you're not a fan of fussy cutting, these are no big deal. And that completes that card. For card 6, I have die cut out a piece of white cardstock, and I wanted it to peek through from this pattern paper. If I had this card to do over, I probably wouldn't have chosen that pattern paper. It's a little bit busy, so the intricateness, is that even a word? The intricate die kind of gets lost with the pattern paper. But if you do case this card, definitely use a different pattern paper. Or use a solid color that's different. It would turn out really pretty. Go and attach this to my white card base. And all my cards measure A2 size, so 5.5 by 4.25. I've gone ahead and stamped my sentiment and trimmed it. And the flower pieces you see there were were fussy cut out from another piece of the DSP. It's the floral images with the crumb cake background. And I go ahead and attach them near my sentiment. And here you can get a good look about how the really pretty die cut on the right gets lost with that pattern paper. But the card turned out okay. I do, of course, add some more hearts. I'm really liking those clear hearts a lot. And that will complete that card. So for card 7, I have taken a white piece of cardstock, and I have used a stitch die to cut it out. So I went ahead and stamped my sentiment, and then I took a scallop die and cut out my scallop piece. Here, I love this heart stamp set. Do you see the different variations of color? I love that you can get that with one stamp. There's no stamping off, nothing. It's one stamp. The way the stamp was put together and designed allows for that variation in color, and I think it's awesome. So here I'm taking this ribbon. I do not believe this ribbon is still available. I think it's retired. And I'm just going to go ahead and add some ribbon to my sentiment. Or I'm sorry, behind my sentiment. I initially added it like this, but then I do change it up, which I'll show you here in a moment. I'm just using glue dots to adhere my ribbon down. Kind of put it at an angle there. And then adhere this piece, and then I will attach my sentiment. I love that heart stamp set. Oh my gosh, can't get over it. Go ahead and attach it to my white card base, and I end up not liking that piece right there. So I just chop that off and spread it out a little, and I like that a lot better. So moving on to card 8, go ahead and stamp another sentiment on that seafoam cardstock, and this is lovely lipstick ink. Here are the rectangle dies, which I love, love, love them. They are great. I love that you get so many. And I have several companies' rectangle dies, and these are becoming my favorite. I went ahead and cut out the sentiment using a rectangle die. I stamped out some more flowers and die cut them. And again, I'm bringing back this polka dot ribbon, which I love. This ribbon you can dye as well if you have reinkers or whatever. You can dye it to match whatever color you need. which makes it more versatile. I have die cut out, stamped and die cut out some leaves as well that I'm adding here. Go ahead and add another flower. I did say my cards were A2 size, but did I say that was 4.5 by 5? No, 5.5 by 4.25. I don't know if I said that part. That will complete that card. So for card 9, I used the rectangle stitched die to cut out 3 pieces of pattern paper. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere them down to this panel. I do adhere the center one first because the center one will guide me to the 2 on the end, making sure I have all 3 of them nice and even. You always want to start with the center and work out. If you start, on the far left, you may not leave yourself enough room for the others or leave too much room and it'll be a big old mess. Go ahead and attach this piece to my card base. I'm getting very disturbing text messages right now. So I'm getting distracted. My parents are selling their house and they were selling their house. They sold it and they're in the process of closing and all that. And the whole deal fell through today and they backed out, the people. And this is after the closing should have already happened and then it was rescheduled. And my parents have since moved, so my stomach hurts for them. Okay, so anyway, that's why I'm like off and on. I've stopped this recording several times to deal with that. But so going back to the card, distract me. Here I'm doing that little trick again, kind of adding some little curls to these little flowers and popping them down. And then that will complete this card. I do like the layout of this card. Here I've used that corner die again for card 10. I really liked that die. It's very pretty. And I'm just trimming up this piece a little bit smaller than what I had done previously. First, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment before I trim that bottom portion off. Just so I know, okay, this is where I want my sentiment. Let me trim it and make sure it's nice and even. I don't want too much white space. Go ahead and adhere that down to the corner, I believe. And then I did, as you can see, stamp and cut out another one of those flowers. I added this pattern paper just for a little bit of interest. It may have ended up being too busy, but I thought it was a little bit too plain with just the red card base. And I go ahead and add some more of this burlap ribbon. I have so much ribbon. I'm really trying to use it and kind of not get rid of it, but use it instead of just having it and never using it. I don't know what I'll do when I finish a roll of ribbon. I think I'll celebrate or something because I don't think I've ever finished a roll of ribbon. I don't know. If I have, I don't remember. So I go ahead and attach this flower and then I will add some of these. Do I add more than one? Oh yeah, okay. So I add these little, I am using the leftovers from my little die cut pieces and that will complete that card. So sorry this video was kind of weird. My mind was elsewhere and I probably should have waited, but I wanted to get this video out today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said in the beginning, I will start doing 10 cards, 1 suite type videos. Let me know if that's something you like seeing. I will still keep the 3 cards, 1 stamp set videos when it is possible to do that, and of course my single card videos. If you're interested in any of the supplies I've used today, they will be listed below. I would so appreciate your business. I'm trying to slowly pick up my Stampin' Up! Business and you know, really get that going. So your business is truly appreciated. All right, guys, let me know your favorite, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.